Because the other races did not stand with me and are too racist to even give me my rightful place as the top martial artist, except for maybe a couple dozen of them who have admitted it in my videos, with their head down, ashamed of the rest of their race. You must understand that there is a battle between the divine order of heaven and this white man's social order. It was the white Romans and the white Jews who betrayed God, and it had to do with the social order. Are you the son of God? And what does that mean for our social order? So challenging the social order is not just capoeira, you fucking fake Christian fools. You men of little faith and little understanding. The people perish because they think like you and have lack of true knowledge and accept Masonic nonsense under the pretense of accepting the true light. You Luciferian, trickster-loving scum. Have a heart. Don't be some snickering white, guy in the suburbs. Like, ha ha, we get over on these blacks and we stick together. We're so smart. Don't be some privileged network-relying coward. Stand on your own 10 toes. Do not elevate some cowardly martial artist ever to my position because of his social network, sabotage, and conformity. Give Joshua his rightful place. Samson his rightful place. Not who the secret societies and the Romans would have you respect in their newspapers. Give me my rightful place. Tradition, morality, truth, the most common form of martial arts competition when less than 1% martial artists do UFC fighting. It is dishonorable. It is prize fighting, cowardly nonsense. It is not even a martial art. It is a dishonorable gladiator-like, prize fighter-like, street fighter-like sports competition that no true martial artist would ever partake in. We focus on fighting skills for actual ancient combat, not bitch shit for Western conformity. Sacred morality, tradition, and God, not the corporate elite, conformity, and selfishness. I refuse to accept mainstream Western culture and any twist of it that would give the white man the upper hand instead of me my rightful place, my people their rightful place, and me my fucking credit so I can stop you eugenicists. I refuse. I am a man of God, and I do not sign a contract or make deals with men without honor because of their satanic corporate philosophies. Fuck you. Western conformity is basically this. We side with the corporate elite and their Enlightenment era derived philosophies, which are all anti-Christian and challenge true Christian morality and assault black people. And what they're saying to you basically is this. Do you want to deny Chukwuemeka his rightful place and other things of this nature to make your people look good in a conformist society, in the eyes of conformists? And that is your ultimate justification and motivation? Or do you side with God, tradition, and you refuse to insult your ancestors by making your people look good and denying another race their place just so you can conform to Satanism? None of our ancestors would approve of that. None of our ancestors would approve of me being denied my rightful place in the most common form of martial arts competition while I live in the middle of fucking nowhere with my parents. White, Asian, Islander, I know for 100% sure they would not approve. And why did they do it? For whose benefit? The white corporate elite, so their race can conform more and suck more corporate dick and not have a true moral philosophy to stop them and to make them choose righteous men. So their races become this kind of bootlicking coward race of women who only reproduce with complete cowards, fake Christians, and people who put on a good show about being a Christian. So they say, hey, he's a good man, a.k.a. he puts on a good show, but he's a conformist coward. He's not Chukwuemeka. He's not an Igbo prince that stands for morality. He's a coward that calls himself a Christian and is nice to people, but helps the white oppressive government do eugenics on tens of millions of people every year. Any fucking questions? Any? Give me my place or accept your race's place with the white man's in history. Conformity against God. Thank you. The battleground is philosophical. Psychology is a branch of philosophy, Western philosophy specifically, and psychiatry sprung from philosophy. From psychology. So either you side with God or you side with psychiatry. That's the main battleground, not psychology. Psychologists, white racist psychologists team up with biological psychiatrists to make their eugenic argument on behalf of a bunch of social biologists and biodemographists. Okay, biodemography, how biology and demography relate and what we should do about it with social policy. So basically, these people have complexes, and they're trying to make their lifestyles socially normative. They're trying to get social acceptance, make their lifestyles socially normative, and it to be abnormal for a Christian to complain about them and to take a passionate stand, especially politically and publicly. Okay? So they want social acceptance so they can set the social norms, so then they can drug Christians and black martial artists who are naturally opposed to their corporate philosophies that they propagate, you know, to be played out as crazy. Say, you're not socially normative. We are. We're going to drug you. And the more angry you are about it, the more we're going to say things like psychosis, psychotic, you know, severe case of psychosis, you know, extremely aggressive, agitated, easily irritated, and a security threat. So we are going to link this to national security, the war on terror, especially because the terrorists talk about God and morality and don't want a bunch of pedophile gays turning out their people as well. Thank you. What disgusts me about the liberals is they'll go on and on about how Trump's un-American. But do they complain when he says we need to screen immigrants in a way that pushes a liberal progressive agenda? Like, how do you feel about gay rights? How do you feel about feminism? Even though we're the conservative party, we're going to make sure you take on this kind of Masonic point of view. You know, that's what, whenever it comes to their institutions, they don't believe what their stated philosophy. Their actual philosophy is Masonry, the Hegelian principle, and bringing in the New World Order by any means necessary without morality to hinder them. So they've had the upper hand for hundreds of years against Christians who fight for morality. You know, therefore, we can't rape your kid and kidnap your kid to get you to do what we want. They can. That's why they use blackmail, coercion. That's why they invented the term coercive power and teach it at college. Okay? This is who these people are. Why is a white Republican screening out Christians and Muslims who might put, hey, you know what? I don't approve of gay rights. I don't approve of feminism. Hey, this is a white perspective. This is a white Protestant country. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant country. That's who founded the country. They were fighting against the Catholic Church, okay? So if you do not accept our white man's twist, our pedophile secret society twist of Christianity, which came from the Enlightenment era like the Illuminati, then you are not welcome here. Go to a country that serves God. This is the white devil's nation. This is the white devil's country. Our prison gangs have satanic symbols. Our lodges have satanic symbols. Our companies. Go to a country with no satanic symbols where we don't make your daughter suck our dick, that we have exploited to the point where you're going to starve if you go there, so we can say, hey, that's what happens to people who think like you, because we are fucking cultural imperialist trash who will never give the black man his credit. Hell, we can't even give a black martial artist his credit in 2017. Do you think we'll ever give your people the credit or not falsify, fabricate evidence to give our people an ego boost and make our people more socially acceptable and your people more likely to be drugged by our racist, white, and token minority psychiatrists who claim to be liberals on your side for the most part? Any fucking questions? America is not a Christian nation. It was founded by two major groups of people. Pagans and Protestants, and both were Freemasons, okay? So they were deists who had a pagan perspective, Protestants, but they were Masons, so they had this overall Masonic idea of tolerance and brotherhood. Tolerance, like tolerating evil and other people's ideas of morality. So basically, it goes like this. Morality helps us determine the natural order. We say, hey, he's a good person. God chose him. He's a good person. He's the top martial artist. He's supposed to be our leader. He's a prince. He's a good person. He's the top martial artist. According to the Bible and our traditions, he's supposed to be our leader. You know, for example, that train of thought, okay? So when the social order decides we're going to remove morality. Now, my last video clip was key, and they hacked my phone. It did not record. Okay, this is key, okay? Listen very carefully to the two sides of the argument. Their argument is Masonic and American, okay? Their argument is it doesn't matter what martial arts means in your culture or in every culture and where they've agreed in the past. All that matters is how Americans have defined martial arts. Therefore, you can't call yourself the top martial artist because Freemasons control America and our culture is based on their perspective. Their agreed perspective on the hierarchy of Masonry has agreed on a certain perspective, okay? Certain universal norms, if you will, or principles, okay? And you can't violate those principles. And those principles go like this. It doesn't matter what God said. You can't prove it anyway. It doesn't matter what tradition says. It doesn't matter what your ancestors did. It doesn't matter what's shows who's a better person. All that matters is the result of doing it that way, because we build things for the effect. Okay, all that matters is the effect. The effect is that the people who have been subjugated by people like Chukwuemeka for a long time, in their own cultures, not by us. We are the white oppressors who subjugated people since, the British started colonizing the world, hell, since the Greeks, But our argument isn't that we're the oppressors. The Masonic corporate elite, we're not the oppressors. It is people like him, okay? So if he has his traditional challenge, it will build a society that respects people like him. We want society to respect gays, feminists, to give the shorter people the upper hand. They want a contest that gives people who sees it their way the upper hand. And remember, Satanists are big guys. Google atheist and look for a cartoon of an atheist or an atheistic Satanist. Typically, he's this big guy. Look at their pictures, right? This big fat guy. He's like, I'm big, I'm mean, and I'm a Satanist. Whereas martial arts is about thin. Think about Shaolin monks, okay? Think about African Egyptians, an African build. Look at the Biafran War. These are thinner guys. These guys aren't obese Americans. That's part of Americanism, selfishness, greed, being bigger, right? You eat more, you bigger. Now, I'm not saying every fat person is a bad person, okay? And this is part of why big people are siding with Masonry, because they know that gluttony is a sin in Christianity. Homosexuality is a sin. Everything that's a sin in Christianity has created enemies amongst those people. And those people got together in Masonry. I don't see how any of you could have missed that even for a fucking moment, okay? Even for a moment. So you want me to give up my traditional... Remember, who we are is who our cultures defined us to be. Our culture was the original disagreement, a philosophical disagreement. The reason why you people don't see it my way is you keep looking at it in terms of Americanism. You don't look at it in terms of philosophy, okay, and groups of philosophies. If you were to group in Christianity with a philosophy, would it be with American Satanism and tolerance of evil, high crime rates, obesity, spreading homosexuality, breaking down, and so on? Or would it be grouped in with radical Islam? Now stop right there. Stop right there. You're going to say, hey, those Muslims worship a different God. Look at it from philosophy and the effect on social planning, okay? American Satanism creates American cowards, fat idiots, and fools who aren't even smart enough to see it my way. On prescription drugs, street drugs, alcohol, smoking cigarettes like Corella, fucking DeVale, thinking they're cool, okay? Islam creates the most devout, the most passionate people in the world, and so does Christianity. They worship one God, no gays, no gluttons, no selfishness. Do it for God, not for money. Pursue happiness through your religious perspective, not fun through the white man's perspective. Come on, look at it through the lens of philosophy. Masonry is concerned with pseudoscience and philosophy and how they can use science to make their pseudoscience seem true, even if they have to fabricate evidence. Think about it. You think these people who are in the science departments and are trying to destroy people who think like me aren't fabricating evidence to make a bunch of white English Freemason royal family and a bunch of Zionist Jews? All these people are feeble, okay? The royal family is a bunch of pussies. Queen Elizabeth isn't 6'4". She's a feeble little white woman, okay? The Jews aren't big, strong black guys. They're feeble little guys. Ireland is right by England. Jews, Irish, English, do the math. And the Vikings were short and strong. I'm related to Vikings, with all due respect. But let's look at what they're trying to do. Who were the Vikings? Short and strong people. Who were the Roman army? They were people who carried heavy armor. Big, strong people who had a philosophy that killed Christ. Don't let the Roman philosophy of being big and strong that killed Christ, that created gladiators that killed each other without honor, destroy the top martial artists for being consistent with God. Don't let them do that. That is not fair. Doing things in a way that helps your philosophies conquer my true identity in the eyes of my own people, conquer our culture, our religion, and destroy everything that is virtuous about us. That is not fair. You demanding that I make a fucking challenge that allows a bunch of secret society pussies to plant fucking referees, to use the best trainers in gyms, to use their propaganda machine to make mini-me's like you look good. That's not fair.